building access to players.
Yeah, that's foreign to me. That's not going to take place here. I mean, I'm unfamiliar with it, but our staff will be here, our players will be here, and that'll be it.
Okay, so essentially there is a new sheriff in town. Stephen A., how should Russell Wilson feel about this?
He should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
And he should be humbled.
Yeah.
Yes, somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. Who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. I mean, listen. Y'all played, I got all of that. Now, if you got somebody that you utilize that's employed by the organization, that's fine. If you got somebody at your home, Key or Dan, when you go home and you get away from the facility, or it's after practice and all of this other stuff, and you utilizing your own dude, that's different. But you literally got a separate dude that you employ on company grounds that you utilizing separate and apart from everybody else. When you're supposed to be the face of the franchise, you're supposed to be the captain of the team, you're supposed to be about unity and galvanizing the troops. And oh, by the way, just as an aside, they had the dead last worst offense in the entire NFL. Really? Really? I mean, you kidding me? I mean, it's unbelievable. I didn't even know this stuff. I ain't even know it, Key. I ain't even know it, Dan Orlovsky. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Listen, I like Russell Wilson. I truly do. I truly do. And it hurt me last season, to have to say critical words about him, because I like the brother. But damn it, listen, there's a history, okay? And I reported this years ago, just so y'all know. When they played in the Super Bowl against New England, we saw beast mode take over late in the game. 2 to 3 big key plays, got them down to the half-yard line, and then Pete Carroll and Darrell Bevell called the play for Russell Wilson to throw it over the middle, and Malcolm Butler intercepted the ball. I knew it was the end then. And you had people in uniform for the Seattle Seahawks that had said they wanted Russell Wilson to be a hero. They didn't want it to be beast mode Marshawn Lynch. They wanted Russell to be the hero, and it backfired. I'm saying to you, there's a history of him being seen as separate and apart from the team. I never knew anything about that, never really cared, until this story came out. And then I said, wait a minute now, come on. Dead last offense after all of that stuff? You damn right Sean Payton said that ain't going to happen here, because I'm inheriting an offense that was the absolute worst in the National Football League. He don't sit his ass down and comply with this system that I got running here. That's what he said, and I applaud Sean Payton for doing it.
That was never going to happen, Stephen A. and Dan. And Russell could have called me 3 weeks ago when I kind of knew what the situation was going to be in Denver, and I could have tipped him off to let him know anything that you're doing outside the scope of the team, it's probably not going to go in your favor with Sean. And the only reason why is because I come essentially from the same tree Sean comes from. I know the way everybody from Parcells on down thinks, and that's what it basically is at the end of the day.
You also know people very, very intimately who have played under Sean Payton. But
I'm talking about the thought process of as a head coach. The way that he thinks is essentially Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Todd Haley's, Romeo Crennel. They all got the same thought process when it comes to things like this. There is not going to be a special coach coaching anybody, winning. They could be the #1 team in the league in offense. It was never going to happen.
That's right.
And part of the reason is there was this, and Dan knows this, there was this thing going around with the quarterbacks of the National Football League. I want this special treatment. I'm Tom Brady. I won a lot of championships. I want my trainer at the facility. And Bill Belichick eventually said, nah, we're not doing that no more. Snatched that from Guerrero being at the facility. And so what happens is individuals see things like that. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, they see it. Like if this guy can get it, I can get it. I can do it too. And he had the power in Denver. They gave up the draft picks. They gave him all the money. So he was essentially, like you said, Stephen A., the face of the organization. He was bigger than Nathaniel Hackett because they gave him the money and the picks. He crushed Nathaniel Hackett. But Sean Payton came in. Now Russell Wilson is just 1 of 53.
Damn
he's
right.
the quarterback, but he's 1 of 53. Sean Payton is the organization in the face of the Denver Broncos now, and this is better for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson would be a better quarterback because of this 100%, Dan.
Okay, you didn't want any preferential treatment in the league?
You know what the here's the preferential but wait, here's the preferential treatment I got. From time to time, I may leave and not fly back with the team because I'm on the West Coast and we won the game so you could stay. I had a second locker. No, I'm just saying. I'm just giving you some stuff. Guys, every now and then, they get 2 lockers because you got a bunch of stuff. I need 2 lockers. I don't need 1 little locker. That's really it. I mean, you know.
I wasn't a 2-locker guy, Key.
Orlovsky, just a nugget of note. Greatness has its privileges. As we're saying. You know what I'm saying? It has its privileges.
Have met in the Super Bowl. Philly had 70 of them during the regular season. Kansas City had the next most with 55. And with Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes squaring off, this is the first Super Bowl to feature 2 black starting quarterbacks. Both of those players talked last night about the historic matchup.
It's historic. You know, I think the game has evolved and it's continuing to evolve before our eyes. You know, that's a beautiful thing to see, to be a part of this history. It's a blessing.
I have a lot of respect for the guys that came before me and laid the foundation. They gave me the position to be here. It's going to be a special game and a special moment for a lot of kids to watch as they grow up and try to assume that role that we're trying to set the example for.
This is about as close a matchup as it can be. The teams have identical win-loss records. They've scored the same number of points. They have the exact same number of all-pro selections. And our analytics are split right down the middle, giving each team a 50% chance to win. So it can't end in a tie. That's again, they'll just play overtime until somebody wins it. It is, after all, a must-win game, as we found out from Nick Sirianni. So when we look at like how teams can separate themselves in a close game like this, what's the biggest weakness that Patrick Mahomes can exploit in the Eagles?
It's actually the Eagles' run defense. They're 24th in the league. They give up about 4.6 yards per carry. Now, Andy Reid is a very aggressive offensive coach, play caller. Him and Eric Bieniemy really try to push the ball down the field. It'll be interesting to see from a strategic standpoint, do they modify their approach this game because their matchup, they have a really good running back in Isaiah Pacheco, averages almost 5 yards a carry. As you mentioned earlier, Dan, they activated Clyde's Edwards-Helaire, so they have a little bit more depth there. So from a strategy standpoint and a chess match, I'm really interested to see, will Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy modify themselves a little bit to exploit the one vulnerability of that Eagles defense, which is stopping the run?
Yeah, I think the Eagles defense, the stopping the run thing I understand, but they're really good at limiting big plays. So I would find a way, if I was the Chiefs, to try to find a way to create big plays. And that way, I think, is using Travis Kelce in the middle of the field. There hasn't been an answer for Travis Kelce all season, and that's where Eagles are weakest in the passing game. They're #1 in the league outside the numbers. They're number 26, I think, in the league inside the numbers through passing attack, and that's where Travis Kelce likes to work. So I think that's the way that they beat them. Yes, some running, but you're going to have to get big chunks against any NFL defense, especially one this good.
What do you think? How do the Chiefs attack the Eagles?
I think Edwards-Helaire is a guy that, like, before his injury, he's a big screen guy. So when you have a physical, aggressive front that likes to get up the field and pass rush, the one way that you can really attack that is through the screen game. And Patrick Mahomes' ability to sidearm the ball and get it through the traffic, I think having a running back that you can run the screens through is really going to slow down the front. That's how you slow him down, screen game.
Add him to Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, who had a big finish to the season. They do have depth at that running back position. Let's flip it around. How do the Eagles take advantage of a Chiefs weakness?
Well, I think it's the offensive tackle. Like, you know, if you go across the board here, the offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs, they're solid in the middle, but on the outside, you know, Wiley's a kind of a weak link there. So you have a great pass rusher. We know that the Eagles can get after the quarterback. So again, if you look at Reddick and what he's been able to do, he's got 19.5 sacks through the regular season and the playoffs, 3.5 in the playoffs. You saw him last week against the 49ers. They game planned terrible. They had a backside tight end coming across to try and block the best pass rusher they have. So you have to make sure that you put your best pass rusher against the weak link, take advantage of that, Maybe you get a ball off them. We've seen in the Super Bowl in the past with the Eagles playing the Patriots, it was only one rush. You get the ball off somebody, you get a turnover, that's the game.
Mike T, what do you think the Chiefs' biggest weakness is?
Oh, it's their lack of experience on defense. It's remarkable how good they've been this year and how young they are. When you think about their secondary, Trent McDuffie's a first-round pick, Jalen Watson's a seventh-round pick, Josh Williams a fourth, Brian Cook's a second, and they've all played meaningful amounts of snaps this year. And when you're going against this